Distinguished Public Policy Fellow at the American University of Beirut. He joins us live from Boston. Rami, thank you very much for talking to us on TRT World. In your opinion, just how fragile is this truce and how tough will it be to keep this ceasefire in place?
It is fragile, but there are a lot of people trying to make it stick. The Americans say they want it to work. The Syrian government does, and imagine the majority of Syrian people do. But the problem here is that what's going on in Syria today is really a microcosm of the kinds of frictions and tensions and disputes and vulnerabilities that most of the modern Arab world, certainly the Levant area, Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, Jordan, Iraq, this area has suffered these kinds of situations for about the last 100 years since this region came into being after the end of World War I. We've never really had a serious mechanism in any of these countries that has allowed the people themselves to choose how they want to organize themselves into a state, into one country with the one government, and what are the rights of the people, what are the rights of ethnic groups, religious minorities, whatever. This has never happened, and therefore we've had this kind of situation breaking out many times in Syria over the years, recently, since the overthrow of the Assad government. And the double problem here is that the area of Sweida in southeastern Syria, most of all of the eastern Syria, is a largely arid territory and doesn't have the cohesion of, say, a city like Damascus or a city like Beirut or Aleppo. These are areas that have tribal groups, religious groups, criminal smuggling gangs, foreign armed positions, all kinds of different people operate in these regions. And we're just seeing now the latest outburst, which is exacerbated by the intervention of the Israeli government, sending in troops and attacking Damascus. So you have to see this as a microcosm of a much bigger, wider, and older problem in the region, which is the problem of the vulnerability of modern Arab statehood.
And on Israel's involvement, we heard from our previous guest, Chris Doyle, saying that Israel is undermining Syrian stability here. How much is it, in your opinion?
Very much. And it's one of the original causes of this regional situation of instability and weak states, states without much sovereignty, states that can't defend themselves, like, for instance, Lebanon or Palestine, that the Zionist movement, way before the State of Israel, starting in the 20s and 30s, was creating a power which they succeeded. They created a powerful state with British and American support, and this state has continued to assert its primacy and its dominance over the region to the point where we see this today on television, where you see the Israelis bombing Damascus in daylight. It's quite amazing. Bombing any place they want in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Palestine, in Yemen, in Iran. It's really quite extraordinary, often with the direct assistance of Western imperial powers. So it's that combination of Western imperial powers, the British, then the Americans, and a couple of others thrown in there, with the Zionist movement and then the State of Israel, that has kept this situation in such a vulnerable condition. The only antidote to this is, first of all, a permanent truce and peace agreement between the State of Israel and the Palestinians, which would give them both equal rights, and that would remove the tensions between the Israelis and, say, the Syrians, the Lebanese, and the Iranians. But the Israelis don't seem to want to do that, and therefore this Israeli role is really quite structural, and it's going to keep repeating itself. And we've seen in the last 2-3 months how it has expanded, and continues in the last few days. It keeps expanding. So this is a really difficult problem at one level, but at another level, it's easy to resolve if we resolve the Israel-Palestine conflict Palestinians get their state, the Israelis get recognition, and they keep their state, but within more legal borders from the 1948 UN resolution, and people can all exist in peace if they want. And this is proving to be very difficult. The international community, especially the big powers, the big Western powers especially, do not seem interested in a totally just, equitable resolution of the Israel-Palestine conflict. They seem to be happy to support Israeli superiority and what is happening in Gaza now, in Lebanon and Syria, that they seem to support Israel's self-proclaimed right to do anything it wants anywhere in the region, killing, dominating, exploiting territory, expanding its borders, anything it wants to preserve its own security, as the Israelis call this. And there's clear evidence now from what we've watched in the last 30, 40 years that the Western powers go along with this. They're not really against this. And this is, again, one of the problems. So it's really the combination of Zionism and Western colonial imperialism that together has allowed the situation to develop. There's other problems on the Arab side as well.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to interrupt you there, but we really appreciate your time and your thoughts. Thank you very much. Rami Khouri there, speaking to us live from Boston.